theory of evolution. Evolution is a controversial subject. Some people like to believe it's a fraud, even though most scientists say it's true and have proof. Evolution theory of Darwin. Who was Darwin? Darwin was a scientific researcher who loved biology and wanted to learn about the origin of species. Based on Darwin's theory, organisms change over time as a result of changes in heritable, physical, or behavioral traits. Comes the idea of evolution. What does this mean? It means that animals that change their physical features or behaviors in accordance with their environment will be better suited and have a better chance of survival, later inheriting these traits to their offspring. What Darwin didn't know was that organisms do not change as a whole, but random genetic mutations make animals behave certain ways, giving them an advantage in comparison to the others in the species that weren't so lucky. Once the lucky ones, or whatever you want to call them, reproduce, they share their genetic advancements with the next generation, helping to continue the magic of evolution. One of the main proofs that evolution is a thing would be that all vertebrates share the same structure, which means we all come from the same original vertebrate. But our connection with our ancestors goes way back before physical structures, to our molecular structures. Scary, right? This means that all organisms or living things, to help you grasp the subject, use DNA and RNA to encode the information that makes them whom or what they are. This means you can tell which organisms are related by studying their genes. For example, we share 98% of their DNA structure with chimpanzees. Impressive, right? Animals that are related or similar are not just linked genetically, but geographically. Another observation Darwin made was that there were 3 distinctive patterns in biological diversity. Pattern number 1, species vary globally. For example, Darwin found flightless ground-dwelling birds called rheas in South America, which looked a lot like ostriches in Africa, and he also found one in Australia called the emu. This led him to believe that different yet ecologically similar animal species inhabit separate but ecologically similar habitats around the world, meaning genetically similar animals enjoy similar environments. This evolution between the 3 animals may go all the way back to the separation of the continents. Pattern number 2, species vary locally. Darwin later explored in the Galapagos Islands, which might be close to one another but differ in ecological conditions. Here he found various species of giant tortoises. For example, the Isabel Island tortoise has a dome-shaped shell with a short neck because the island's vegetation is close to the ground. By the Hood Island tortoise, shells are curved and open around their legs and necks, which enables them to reach the island's sparse high vegetation. This led Darwin to believe that different yet related animal species often occupy different inhabitants within a local area, meaning that genetically similar animals that lived in different ecological conditions adapted to their different environments in order to survive. Pattern number 3, species vary over time. Fossils have always been a very important part of evolution because they enable us to see the difference in structure between living and the dead. For example, Darwin saw the fossils of a glidoplath, a giant armored animal, which seems to be a bigger version of an animal that is currently living in the same area, the armadillo. This really excited Darwin, and it led him to believe, and I quote, "This wonderful relationship in the same continent between the dead and the living will I do not hereafter throw more light on the appearance of organic beings on our earth and their disappearance from it than any other class of facts." Now, let's put aside all the controversy and think about the future. Because of evolution, are humans going to evolve?